So a few years back, we did a Japanese maple germination video in which I was germinating seeds from a particular guy over on the East Coast named Dan. He sent me those seeds because he had said that the seeds seem to always come true to the parent. And what I mean by that is the seedlings look just like the parent, which typically doesn't happen because of genetic diversity. Well, in that video, if you haven't seen it yet, I'll put a link in the description. We were only able to get one seed to germinate, and that seed is still doing well. I'm going to show it to you in just a second. It's actually about 4 or 5 foot high, and I've got just the place to plant it out. So here is Dan's Japanese maple seedling, and it has turned out to be a really beautiful seedling. Now it's in shade. This plastic I've got on the hoop house here is about 50% shade, and so it will be more red in more sun. It's still in the same pot that I originally planted those little seedlings. It was the only one that germinated. It's got a nice thick stalk to it now. It's, like I said, 4 or 5 foot high. When I get it planted, it'll probably be somewhere around 4 foot. And I think if we spray it with some deer off, we'll be able to keep the deer at bay until this gets a little bit bigger and stronger. Let's get after this. So the spot I decided to plant this particular red maple was in this bed right here of rhododendrons, and a lot of these have already bloomed, but there is a central line of them come up through the center that have not bloomed yet. Those are all Graf Zeppelin. They're a later bloomer, really beautiful rhododendron, but it'll be nestled amongst all these as well, which are absolutely gorgeous rhododendrons. A lot of oranges and yellows in there, some whites, but really pretty. Anyway, I got the hole dug already, as you can see over here. It's about 8 inches deep, and I set the bark off to one side, or actually 2 sides here, and the dirt off to this side, so I can backfill with the dirt and then put the bark back over top. So there it is, and it did end up being somewhere around 4 foot tall, but beautiful red color. It's the morning time, and so the sun's coming up from over that direction, and you can see just that beautiful red color coming in from the underside of the leaves. But it's, you know, been in the hoop house all this time, so the branches are a little bit wavy. It's new growth, but it'll get set in place and get nice and strong over time. Now, the only thing I need to worry about is keeping the deer off of it. Now, one of the things that I thought I'd bring your attention to that I'm sure I'm gonna get questions on is how I planted this. So like I said, I dug this about 8 inches deep, and that's inconsequential. It just really depends on how, you know, thick or deep the root system is, and this was just a shallow pot. So I planted it in there and then put the soil around the outside of the pot and then came back with the bark. So this is not actually buried around the trunk. If you look here and we just go through some mulch, there's roots right in there. And so this is kind of at the same level that it was at in the pot. In fact, I could even clear a little bit more around there. You don't want to ever fill soil up around the bark. All right, I brought Shelly out here because we're going to be picking out some extra rhododendrons to plant next to that maple. There's some areas we need to fill in, so we kind of looked at that area and we're going to see what complements it. Sometimes it's hard to tell what's going to be lower growing and complement the colors, but did you have any thoughts on it?
Just kind of looking.
That's Capistrano. This one over here is going to Shelly's mom. That's Flaming Star. She just fell in love with it, so I said, all right, we'll plant it at your place.
We could put one of the Dells there.
Or that's Puget Sound.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's the one that you made me keep that I'm never allowed to get rid of.
Very fragrant.
Yeah, it is fragrant. It's a nice one. We could put that there. It's a lower growing. Okay. And it gets huge. The flowers get massive over time.
Or we could put some of these new ones that...
Oh yeah, I forgot. We've got some new ones from Lolly.
Those might be nice. See what they turn out to be.
All right, Shelly's got her rhododendron picked out, and we are going with Horizon Serenity. It's got this beautiful white flower, and it's actually slightly fragrant. So one thing we want to do, though, we're going to get planted in there, and we want to get it established well and get it to bush out more. So we're going to actually take these big growths off and let them start over again with multiple growths at those points.
Yeah, that one's... Whew.
Now we'll get more growths coming out at each of these little points, and it'll just be a bushier plant. All right, so there it is. It's kind of nearing its end of the bloom cycle, but it's such a beautiful flower in there, and it does stay low. It spreads, so I think it'll fill in that area really nicely, as well as come out a little bit. As you can see from the parent plant over here, this is the mother that I got that cutting from originally several years ago. It's filling in a pretty broad area. It's probably 6 foot across right there. Sometimes hard to tell in the video, but it's pretty broad rhododendron. You can see the branching structure underneath there. It just wants to keep coming out and staying low, and so I think it'll fill in really nicely in that area over there. Beautiful little rhododendron, Horizon Serenity, and it does have a slight fragrance to it. I'm getting better at finding these large leaf rhododendrons with fragrance, and while we're at it, I think we need another one right there and another one right there. And Nancy Evans is going to be the one we're going with. Such a beautiful yellow. All right. So I'm thinking one goes right in here and then another one over here. That look good? So I think that's going to work out really good. We've got Dan's Japanese Maple and then Horizon Serenity, beautiful rhododendron that's going to fill in that whole area right there. And just for some added color, we've got a couple of Nancy Evans. So these are all April Glow around it, but they were all pink. And I did that originally, but a few of them died back, and we just need some more color in there. Beautiful little Nancy Evans rhododendrons. I love that yellow. So there it is, Dan, we finally got your Japanese maple planted. I've had that spot picked out for a long time. I knew that's where I wanted it. I just wasn't sure when I was gonna get planted. Needed to get a little bit of size so that the deer didn't go after it. It's still, like I said, only about 4 foot tall, so I'm probably gonna have to spray it with something to keep the deer away for a year or two. It's not that big of a deal. I think we're gonna be okay in that spot, but I'm excited to get that done and also get some other really neat rhododendrons planted around that area just to kind of lighten it up and get some more whites and yellows in there. Anyway, I hope you guys liked this one. If you did, hit that like button. Subscribe if you want to follow along and see how Dan's Japanese maple turns out. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Adios.